It was a cold and silent Christmas Eve in the small town of Eldridge. The streets were adorned with twinkling lights and festive decorations, casting a warm glow on the snow-covered houses. Among the cheerful residents, there was one man named Chris, a solitary figure known for his reclusive nature. Chris lived in an old Victorian house at the edge of town. Despite the festive season, his home seemed devoid of any holiday spirit. The windows were tightly shut, and no lights illuminated the interior. Chris had always been a mystery to his neighbors, and tonight, that mystery would unravel in the most unexpected way. As the clock struck midnight, a faint sound echoed through the stillness of the night. Chris, who had been sitting by the fireplace, reading an old book, suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. The sound seemed to be coming from his basement, a place he rarely ventured into. Curiosity mingled with apprehension. Chris made his way down the creaky staircase. The air in the basement was thick with an inexplicable tension, and the flickering light bulb barely illuminated the space. As he reached the bottom, Chris was greeted by an eerie sight. A collection of old, dusty Christmas decorations, each one more ominous than the last. Among the forgotten ornaments, Chris found an ancient-looking box. Intrigued, he opened it to reveal a tattered journal. Its pages were filled with cryptic symbols and strange drawings. The entries detailed a dark tale of a Christmas curse that befell the town centuries ago, claiming the lives of those who ignored the holiday spirit. As Chris delved deeper into the journal, he discovered a list of names, each one corresponding to a resident of Eldridge. His own name was among them, sending shivers down his spine. According to the journal, those whose homes remained devoid of Christmas cheer would meet a sinister fate on this very night. Determined to unravel the mystery and break the curse, Chris embarked on a quest to uncover the truth behind Eldridge's haunted Christmas. Chris spent the next few days tirelessly researching the town's history, trying to find any clues that could explain the curse. He discovered that Eldridge had indeed been plagued by a series of mysterious deaths every Christmas Eve for as long as anyone could remember. Driven by a growing sense of urgency, Chris reached out to his neighbors, sharing the ominous findings from the journal. Initially met with skepticism, he managed to convince a few to join him in an attempt to lift the curse. Together, they organized a town-wide effort to infuse Eldridge with the holiday spirit. The once deserted streets began to transform. Houses were adorned with festive lights, and Christmas carols echoed through the air. The atmosphere, however, remained tense as the residents grappled with the fear of the impending curse. As Christmas Eve approached, Chris and his neighbors gathered in the town square for a candlelight vigil, hoping their collective efforts would be enough to thwart the dark forces that haunted Eldridge. The clock struck midnight, and an eerie silence enveloped the town. Just as despair began to settle in, a mysterious figure emerged from the shadows, a spectral entity that seemed to embody the curse itself. A chilling wind swept through the square as the figure spoke, recounting the sins of the past that had led to the curse. In a desperate plea, Chris and his neighbors confessed to their newfound understanding of the curse and vowed to break the cycle of neglect that had plagued Eldridge for generations. As their words echoed through the night, the figure slowly dissipated, leaving behind a profound stillness. The curse had been broken. Eldridge awakened on Christmas morning, bathed in a warm golden light. The townspeople, once burdened by fear, now celebrated the holiday with newfound joy and unity. Chris, having played a pivotal role in Eldridge's redemption, found solace in the communal embrace of the Christmas spirit. Little did he know that the journal, now empty of its ominous contents, would fade away, becoming a mere echo of a dark chapter in Eldridge's history. The town had been granted a second chance, and as the years passed, the tale of the cursed Christmas became a distant memory, a cautionary reminder to cherish the magic of the season. As the years rolled by, Eldridge transformed into a beacon of festive joy during the holiday season. The curse, once a haunting shadow, had been replaced by an enduring sense of community and goodwill. Chris, once the enigmatic recluse, became a revered figure in Eldridge, known for his role in breaking the ancient curse. The town's Christmas celebrations became legendary, drawing visitors from far and wide to experience the enchanting spirit that radiated through its streets. Every December, Eldridge sparkled with lights, laughter, and the warmth of shared traditions. The once-forgotten Christmas decorations found in Chris's basement became cherished symbols of the town's triumph over darkness. Chris, having found a sense of belonging in Eldridge, spent his days immersed in the joyous preparations for each Christmas. The townspeople, grateful for the redemption he had brought to their lives, embraced him as one of their own. As the sun set on another Christmas Eve, Chris stood in the town square, reflecting on the remarkable journey that had unfolded. Eldridge, once a place of mystery and dread, had blossomed into a haven of holiday magic. The air was filled with the sweet melodies of carolers, and the aroma of festive treats wafted through the air. As the clock struck midnight, marking the arrival of Christmas, a gentle snowfall began. It was as if the heavens themselves were showering blessings upon Eldridge. The townspeople gathered around Chris, expressing their gratitude for the transformation he had sparked. With a contented smile, Chris looked up at the starry sky and whispered a silent thanksgiving. The curse was now nothing more than a distant memory, and Eldridge had become a testament to the power of unity and the magic of Christmas. And so, in the heart of Eldridge, where a once darkened past had cast its shadow, the radiant glow of Christmas prevailed, illuminating the town with a light that would endure for generations to come. Irvin's eyes flickered open as he lay in bed, surrounded by the cozy darkness of his room. The soft glow of Christmas lights outside his window danced on the snow-covered streets. The air was filled with the hushed excitement that only the holiday season could bring. However, Irvin couldn't shake off the unease that crept over him. As he wandered through the town, adorned with festive decorations, Irvin couldn't ignore the feeling that something was amiss. The cheerful carolers and the warm glow of fireplaces couldn't dispel the chill that settled in his bones. It was as if an invisible shadow lingered in the corners, casting doubt on the joyous atmosphere. Irvin's unease grew as he encountered familiar faces wearing strained smiles and exchanged hollow greetings. The town that once radiated warmth now seemed shrouded in a mysterious gloom. Determined to unravel the mystery, Irvin delved into the heart of the community, questioning the peculiar changes that had befallen the usually close-knit neighborhood. As he probed deeper, Irvin discovered unsettling rumors of a haunting presence that had descended upon the town. Whispers spoke of a ghostly figure seen only in the corners of peripheral vision, vanishing before anyone could get a clear look. Some claimed to have heard eerie laughter echoing in the night, a sound that sent shivers down the spines of those who dared venture outside after dark. Despite the growing fear, no one could pinpoint the source of these spectral occurrences. The townspeople were on edge, their festive preparations overshadowed by a sense of impending doom. Irvin, unable to resist the call to action, vowed to uncover the truth behind this sinister veil that cloaked his once vibrant community. Irvin's investigation led him to the heart of the town's history, where he uncovered tales of a long-forgotten tragedy that coincided with the holiday season. Decades ago, a family had been torn apart by an unspeakable act, leaving behind a fractured legacy that lingered in the shadows. The ghostly apparition, it seemed, was connected to the unresolved pain of the past. Haunted by the revelation, Irvin delved further into the family's history, unearthing forgotten letters and diary entries that chronicled the heartache and despair that had befallen them. As he pieced together the fragments of the past, Irvin realized that the specter that now haunted the town sought closure and redemption. With newfound determination, Irvin set out to reunite the scattered remnants of the family, hoping to mend the wounds that had festered for generations. He navigated through a web of strained relationships and festering resentments, racing against time to bring about reconciliation before Christmas arrived. As Irvin confronted the estranged family members, he faced their skepticism and resistance. The ghostly presence intensified its efforts, becoming more tangible as the town's apprehension reached its peak. Irvin's quest for resolution became a race against time, his every step accompanied by the haunting echoes of a past that refused to stay buried. Will Irvin succeed in bringing closure to the tormented spirits that roamed the town? Or will the chilling presence consume the holiday spirit, leaving the community forever trapped in the icy grip of a long-forgotten tragedy? Only time would reveal the true nature of this ghostly tale as Irvin fought to unravel the web of darkness that threatened to suffocate the joyous season. Irvin's efforts to reunite the fractured family met resistance at every turn, but he persisted, driven by a determination to break the cycle of sorrow that gripped the town. The ghostly apparition, sensing Irvin's mission, intensified its ethereal presence, creating an atmosphere of tension that hung heavily in the air. As Christmas Eve approached, the townspeople found themselves caught between the pull of holiday traditions and the ominous specter that loomed over their celebrations. Irvin, undeterred by the mounting challenges, gathered the estranged family members in a quiet, dimly lit room on the outskirts of town. Tensions reached a boiling point as buried grievances and long-held secrets spilled into the open. Irvin, acting as a mediator, guided the family through a painful but necessary journey of reconciliation. Tears were shed, apologies were offered, and the weight of decades-old burdens began to lift. Unbeknownst to the living, the ghostly figure observed the scene with a flicker of ethereal sadness. As the family members embraced, forgiveness replacing resentment, the apparition's presence waned. The echoes of laughter and joy filled the room, drowning out the ghostly whispers that had haunted the town for so long. Outside, the atmosphere shifted. The once oppressive gloom lifted, and the air became crisp with the promise of a renewed spirit. Irvin emerged from the room, the weight of the past now lifted from his shoulders. The townspeople, sensing the change, began to rediscover the joy of the holiday season. On Christmas morning, the sun rose on a town transformed. The decorations that had seemed dull and lifeless now sparkled with newfound vibrancy. The sense of community that had been fractured for so long blossomed once again. As the townspeople exchanged warm greetings and heartfelt smiles, they knew that the darkness that had threatened to consume them had been vanquished. Irvin, now a hero in the eyes of his community, watched as the ghostly figure, now a faint silhouette, lingered for a moment before dissolving into the morning light. The spirit, having found redemption through the healing of the family's wounds, departed, leaving behind a town reborn. The tale of Irvin's Christmas became a legend, passed down through the generations as a reminder of the transformative power of forgiveness and the resilience of the human spirit. The once haunted town embraced the holiday season with a newfound appreciation for the bonds that held them together, proving that even in the darkest of times, the light of love and reconciliation could prevail. The winter wind howled through the barren trees, carrying with it an eerie sense of foreboding. Christmas lights flickered weakly in the distance as Tyrone trudged through the snow-covered streets of his small town. The air was thick with anticipation, but not the joyous kind that usually accompanied the holiday season. Something felt off, and Tyrone couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. Tyrone, a middle-aged man with a weary expression, had always been a skeptic when it came to tales of the supernatural. Yet, as he approached his modest home on Elm Street, a shiver ran down his spine. The windows, usually adorned with festive decorations, now seemed like ominous eyes staring into his soul. Entering his dimly lit living room, Tyrone was greeted by the warm glow of the fireplace. However, the warmth did little to ease his growing unease. The room felt heavy with unseen tension, and the crackling fire seemed more like a desperate attempt to fend off the encroaching darkness. As the clock struck midnight, an unexpected chill filled the room. Tyrone's breath hummed in the air like a spectral mist. Just then, a peculiar sound echoed through the silence. Faint whispers, like the rustling of leaves in a ghostly breeze. He strained to listen, feeling a knot tighten in his stomach. A sudden knock at the door shattered the uneasy stillness. Tyrone hesitated before opening it, revealing only the swirling snow and the ominous shadows dancing in the night. His eyes scanned the desolate landscape, searching for any sign of life. Nothing. Closing the door, Tyrone tried to convince himself it was just his imagination playing tricks on him. He settled into an uneasy sleep, haunted by dreams of spectral figures and distant wails. The following morning, Tyrone awoke to a town blanketed in an eerily thick fog. The once cheerful Christmas decorations now seemed like relics from a distant time, their colors muted by the ghostly haze. Determined to shake off the lingering unease, Tyrone decided to attend the annual Christmas Eve gathering at the town square. As he stepped outside, the air felt unusually still. The hushed whispers from the night before lingered in his memory, and he couldn't shake the feeling that the townspeople were hiding something. The square, adorned with festive lights and a towering Christmas tree, should have been filled with laughter and joy. Instead, it was a silent tableau of unease. Tyrone approached his neighbors, attempting to engage in casual conversation, but he was met with forced smiles and vacant stares. It was as if a collective secret bound the townspeople, a secret they were unwilling to share with him. As the evening wore on, Tyrone noticed a group of children gathered around an old, weathered well at the edge of the square. Their eyes were fixed on something below, their expressions a mix of curiosity and fear. Intrigued, Tyrone approached the well and peered into its dark depths. To his horror, he saw a reflection that wasn't his own. The faces of townspeople long gone, their eyes hollow and accusing. The whispers grew louder, and Tyrone recoiled, stumbling backward. The children continued to stare, oblivious to the spectral faces that haunted the well. Haunted by the visions, Tyrone felt compelled to uncover the truth. The town's past, veiled in shadows, seemed to converge with the present in a sinister dance. As the night deepened, the chilling mystery of Christmas in his quaint town began to unfold, revealing a tapestry of secrets, betrayal, and a restless spirit that sought redemption. Determined to unravel the mystery, Tyrone delved into the town's archives, poring over old records and faded photographs. The whispers persisted, guiding him through a labyrinth of forgotten tales. He discovered a tragic event from decades past, at Christmas Eve when a fire claimed the lives of several townspeople. The tragedy had been shrouded in secrecy, and the spirits of the departed seemed to linger, yearning for justice. As Tyrone dug deeper, he uncovered a web of deceit that implicated some of the town's most respected figures. It appeared that the fire had not been an accident, but a deliberate act meant to conceal a dark secret. The children he had seen at the well were descendants of those who had perished, carrying the weight of a hidden past. Armed with this knowledge, Tyrone confronted the town's elders, demanding answers. The air in the room grew thick with tension as the truth unfolded, a tale of betrayal, greed, and a desperate cover-up that had plagued the town for generations. The whispers that had tormented Tyrone now revealed themselves as the voices of the restless spirits seeking vindication. The townspeople, forced to confront their complicity in the tragedy, struggled with guilt and remorse. Tyrone became an unwitting mediator between the living and the dead, a conduit for the voices that had long been silenced. As Christmas Eve approached once again, Tyrone, along with the townspeople, embarked on a journey of redemption. They organized a solemn ceremony at the well, a symbolic gesture to acknowledge the pain of the past and release the trapped spirits. Under the soft glow of the moon and a gentle snowfall, the townspeople gathered at the well. Each one spoke of their ancestors' deeds, confessing the sins that had haunted the town for so long. The whispers transformed into ethereal melodies, carried away by the winter breeze, as if the spirits were finally finding peace. Tyrone, too, shared his own struggles and doubts, becoming a bridge between the living and the departed. The air resonated with a haunting serenity, and a spectral light enveloped the well. The faces of the long-gone townspeople appeared once more, this time wearing expressions of forgiveness. In the silence that followed, the town seemed reborn. The fog lifted, revealing a clear winter night. The Christmas lights sparkled with newfound vibrancy, and the weight that had burdened the town for so long lifted like a dissipating mist. As the clock struck midnight, a chorus of laughter and joy echoed through the square. The townspeople, now unburdened by the shadows of the past, celebrated Christmas with a newfound sense of unity and compassion. Tyrone, though exhausted, felt a profound sense of accomplishment. The spirits had been appeased, and the town had found redemption in the midst of a chilling Christmas tale. And so, as the snow continued to fall, blanketing the town in a pristine white, the echoes of the haunting whispers faded into the distance. Christmas had come, not as a harbinger of dread, but as a catalyst for healing and renewal. The spirits, having found solace, retreated into the ethereal realm, leaving behind a town forever changed by the power of redemption. Snow fell softly on the quaint town of Glenwood as Christmas lights adorned the houses, casting a warm glow on the streets. The air was filled with festive cheer, but for Sheen, a sense of unease lingered. He couldn't shake the feeling that something ominous was about to unfold. Sheen, a solitary man in his 30s, lived on the outskirts of town in a centuries-old cottage. He preferred the solitude, finding solace in the company of his books and the crackling fireplace. This Christmas, however, an inexplicable tension gripped his heart. As the sun dipped below the horizon on Christmas Eve, Sheen strolled through the quiet streets, the crunch of snow beneath his boots the only sound. An old man, Leonard, approached him, his eyes filled with a mixture of fear and urgency. "Sheen, you mustn't stay here tonight," Leonard warned, his voice trembling. "There's an ancient curse that awakens on this night every century. I've seen it before." Sheen scoffed at the superstition, dismissing it as the ramblings of an old man. Yet, a seed of doubt had been planted. As darkness enveloped Glenwood, Sheen returned home, unable to shake off the unease. The wind howled outside as Sheen settled into his armchair, trying to lose himself in a book. But every creak of the floorboards, every distant sound, heightened his anxiety. The clock struck midnight, and an icy chill filled the room. Unseen eyes seemed to watch him, sending shivers down his spine. Suddenly, the lights flickered, and a haunting melody echoed through the cottage. Sheen's heart raced as he followed the eerie sound to the basement. With trepidation, he descended the creaky stairs, the air growing colder with each step. In the dim light, Sheen discovered an old, dusty chest. Intricate carvings adorned its surface, depicting scenes of despair. As he opened it, a ghostly apparition materialized before him, whispering words of an ancient curse that foretold a chilling fate for the town. Sheen, now engulfed in fear, understood that something malevolent had been unleashed. The ghostly figure pointed to a weathered map, revealing a pattern of strange symbols converging on a location in the heart of Glenwood. The town's fate rested in Sheen's hands, as he realized he was the chosen one destined to break the curse. Little did he know, the shadows of the past were about to collide with the present, plunging Glenwood into a nightmarish Christmas. Sheen, armed with newfound knowledge, navigated the snowy streets of Glenwood. The ghostly figure's warnings echoed in his mind as he approached the ominous convergence point marked on the map. The once festive decorations now seemed to cast foreboding shadows. As Sheen neared the town square, he noticed a gathering of hooded figures. Their hushed whispers and sinister aura sent a chill down his spine. Among them, a figure clad in black robes stepped forward, revealing a face hidden in shadows. "Welcome, Sheen," the figure intoned, the voice sending shivers through the air. "You are the key to our release, the unwitting pawn in a pact forged long ago." Sheen, compelled by an unseen force, listened as the hooded figure unraveled the history of a cursed covenant made by the town's ancestors. It spoke of a Christmas Eve when desperation led them to forge a pact with an ancient entity, promising prosperity in exchange for a yearly offering. "The time has come for the town to pay its debt," the figure declared. "You are the vessel through which our master will reclaim what is rightfully his." A sense of dread filled Scene as he realized the magnitude of the curse that loomed over Glenwood. The hooded figures began chanting, their voices resonating with an otherworldly power. The air thickened, and the ground trembled beneath Scene's feet. Desperation fueled his determination. Scene, drawing on courage he never knew he possessed, confronted the hooded figure, demanding an end to the cursed pact. The figure, however, remained resolute, his eyes glinting with an unholy fervor. As the chanting reached a crescendo, the ground beneath the town square cracked open, revealing a swirling vortex of darkness. From within, a monstrous entity emerged, its form shifting between shadows. The townspeople, caught in a trance, began offering themselves to the malevolent force. In a final act of defiance, Scene, guided by the ghostly apparition's whispers, traced a protective sigil in the air. A blinding light erupted, repelling the darkness and breaking the hooded figure's hold on the townspeople. The entity roared in fury as it retreated into the depths. Glenwood was spared, but the aftermath left the town in disarray. The hooded figures vanished, leaving behind an air of lingering malevolence. The townspeople, shaken but freed from the trance, stared at Scene in a mix of awe and fear. As the first light of dawn broke, Scene knew the battle was won, but the scars of that fateful Christmas Eve would forever mark Glenwood. The once jovial town faced the daunting task of rebuilding not just its physical structures, but the trust shattered by the sinister pact. The ghostly apparition, now fading into the morning light, whispered its gratitude to Scene. With a heavy heart, he watched as the spirit dissipated, leaving him alone in the quiet aftermath. As the sun rose, casting a warm glow over the snow-covered town, Scene couldn't help but wonder if the memories of that chilling Christmas would ever truly fade away. The air was crisp, and the snow-covered streets of the small town of Ravenswood sparkled under the pale glow of the street lamps. Christmas decorations adorned every storefront, and the festive spirit filled the air. Yet for Andrew, a sense of foreboding cast a shadow over the holiday cheer. Andrew, a solitary man with a mysterious past, lived in a quiet cottage at the edge of town. His days were spent in solitude, avoiding the curious glances of the townsfolk. Despite the joyous atmosphere, he couldn't escape the haunting memories that resurfaced every Christmas. As Christmas Eve approached, the townspeople busied themselves with last-minute preparations. The church bells chimed, inviting everyone to the midnight service. Andrew, however, felt a reluctance to join the festivities. He couldn't shake the feeling that something ominous awaited him. The night fell, and the snow whispered beneath his boots as he made his way through the deserted streets. The church loomed ahead, its Gothic architecture casting eerie shadows on the snow-covered ground. Hesitant, Andrew pushed open the heavy wooden door and entered the dimly lit interior. The flickering candles cast dancing shadows on the walls as the congregation sang hymns, enveloping the church in an otherworldly atmosphere. Andrew found a secluded pew near the back, attempting to blend in with the shadows. As the service progressed, a sense of unease settled over him, amplifying with each passing moment. As the clock struck midnight, the temperature in the church dropped, and a cold gust swept through the nave. Andrew shivered, his breath visible in the frigid air. The flickering candles dimmed, and the once warm glow turned into an eerie pale light. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. The townspeople fell silent, their eyes widening in fear. The organ, played by an unseen hand, emitted haunting melodies that echoed through the church. Andrew's heart raced as he felt an invisible presence in the shadows. The church doors creaked open, revealing a figure draped in a tattered cloak. The congregation gasped, and an icy chill filled the air as the mysterious figure slowly approached the altar. Andrew's eyes widened in recognition, for the figure bore an uncanny resemblance to someone he had long tried to forget, a specter from his past. As the figure raised its hood, revealing a face hidden in the shadows, a voice echoed through the church, chilling Ander to the bone. "Welcome, Ander. It's time to face your past." A hush fell over the congregation as the figure advanced towards Ander. The air was heavy with an unspoken tension, and the flickering candles seemed to respond to the ominous presence, casting erratic shadows that danced along the walls. The hooded figure spoke again, its voice resonating with an unsettling familiarity. "You can't escape the sins of your past, Ander. Christmas is a time for reckoning, a time for redemption." Ander's mind raced as memories long buried resurfaced. He could feel the weight of guilt and regret bearing down on him. The townspeople watched in stunned silence, unsure whether the unfolding scene was part of some twisted holiday spectacle or a manifestation of their deepest fears. As the figure approached, it extended a hand, revealing a faded photograph. Ander's hands trembled as he took it, recognizing the faces of loved ones he had abandoned years ago. The haunting images stirred a tempest of emotions within him. The figure spoke again, its voice now softer, almost pleading. "Face the consequences of your actions, Ander. Only then can you find peace." The church seemed to close in around him as Ander grappled with his past. The townspeople, still frozen in shock, watched as he stumbled towards the altar. The organ played a melancholic tune, mirroring the turmoil within Ander's soul. In a desperate attempt to make amends, Ander whispered a prayer, asking for forgiveness from those he had wronged. The church vibrated with a mysterious energy, and the figure in the cloak began to fade into the shadows. The congregation held their breath as the tension reached its peak. A blinding light enveloped the church, and when it subsided, Ander found himself alone at the altar. The haunting presence had vanished, leaving only the echoes of the past in its wake. The church doors swung shut with a heavy thud, and the candles flickered back to life, illuminating the sacred space. The townspeople, recovering from the surreal experience, exchanged bewildered glances. The organ fell silent, and the church returned to a semblance of normalcy. Ander, his heart heavy with the weight of redemption, stepped out into the snowy night. The once ominous shadows now seemed to embrace him, and a distant sound of Christmas carols carried on the wind. As he walked through the deserted streets, the snowfall seemed to cleanse his soul. The following morning, Ravenswood woke to a Christmas unlike any other. The townspeople, though shaken by the events of the previous night, felt a newfound sense of hope and forgiveness. Ander, once a mysterious outsider, became an integral part of the community, his past transgressions forgiven. As the town celebrated Christmas with renewed joy, Ander couldn't shake the feeling that he had been granted a second chance. The ghosts of Christmas past had guided him towards redemption, and in the quiet moments of reflection, he whispered his gratitude to the snowy landscape, where the footprints of a solitary man marked the path to forgiveness.